Charlotte, I know it's obviously been a pretty tough couple weeks for you and your family, but can you give us all an update on how you're doing and how your dad's doing?
Yeah, so it's probably the hardest 2 weeks I've had. But man, my dad's a fighter. I just want to thank everyone. Oh, he's got 9 lives. I just really want to thank everyone for the messages, the prayers, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, text messages. It really means a lot to me. I know it means a lot to my family. And most importantly, I know my dad would really appreciate it. He has a long road. I'm not saying, that he's going to be back next week strutting, but definitely the prayers and the positive vibes help. And I wouldn't be here if I didn't think it was okay. So everything's looking good, and this is where I belong, and I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, that being said, with you being here, here at SmackDown Live, does it feel nice to be able to be kind of getting back in the groove of things here?
Well, just to be with my friends, traveling with Becky this weekend, seeing Breeze and AJ and New Day and just the whole SmackDown roster. I don't know, when you're used to doing something every single day and then it's taken away for 2 weeks, and especially my bond with my dad is this. So I just kept thinking, sitting there how am I going to talk to my dad about work? So just being back and knowing that he's getting better and it's, it's for the family. It feels I don't know, I just needed to get back in the groove of things.
You know what I'm gonna do about it? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna tweet my displeasure. That's right. I'm gonna jump on social media and I'm gonna tweet about it until my fingers bleed. I might even send an Instagram or a Vine. That's right. And on that tweet, in that tweet, and however many characters I get, I am gonna threaten. That's right. If I don't get what I want, I'm gonna riot. And if that doesn't work, then by God, me and my friend Mark, we're gonna stop watching. That's right.
A lot of our guys, unfortunately, listen to the people on the internet who, the so-called, the so-called experts who've never laced up a pair of boots.
Good or bad, the internet?
The ones that call themselves experts and, and have all these, the cures for the ailments of our business. You know what? I think they're a big joke. And the people that buy into this, they're only smart because of what we let them be smart too. But you listen to them, and they've got all the answers, and this guy needs to be put.
Good. Where's the smart marks at?
There. Talk to him.
Good. Can I?
Yeah, I would love you to.
Can I really?
You know how I feel.
Can I swear?
Absolutely. Ask your friends over here.
All right, fuck you. And this is my biggest problem with the so-called fans and stuff like that. They have these words in their lexicon that they read on the internet from
someone else,
like Meltzer or something like that, and they use them out of context. They have no idea what it means. You know what I mean? And I actually I said this to one of our writers one time. They said something like, "Oh, and then you're going to do this, and then you're going to get heat." And I said, "Stop! No,
that's not how it is."
I said, "You don't even know what that word means. You have no idea what that word means." And these people run around and be like, "Oh, you guys don't need to do this." And Paul Bearer, disrespectful and it's just cheap heat. And it's not. You don't know what heat is. You don't know what cheap heat is. Shut the fuck up and watch the show.
Well said. Thank you.
You could take any one of those people and you can give them the position of booker and they would lose their mind. Everyone loves being negative. Everyone loves, they shouldn't have done that. Punk came back too soon. They did it. And it's just shut up and enjoy it. I know sometimes it gets really, really bad. And then you can be vocal about that, but it's just nobody lets anything play out. They forget. It's they almost forget that there's going to be a Raw next week.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 69, boing, of the Josh Lopez Wrestling Podcast. It's the new era of the Josh Lopez Wrestling Podcast. Shout out to Rosenberg and Stat Guy Greg for that. Welcome to the show, everybody. If this is your first time listening to this great podcast, I appreciate you. You're a good brother and a good sister. My name is Joshua Adam Lopez. I'm a student of game professional wrestling. You can follow me at Twitter at Notorious Joshi and also on Instagram at Notorious Joshi. We do this podcast every single week on mindofcarnage.com, and we got a couple announcements to make towards the end of this week's podcast. But for those who are listening for the very first time, I want to say thank you. I want to thank you for giving yours truly an opportunity to entertain you while you're being miserable at your cubicles or riding back home or working out at the gym, whatever you're doing, whenever you're listening to this podcast. I just want to say thank you. So you guys are the real MVPs at the end of the day. We got a good show today, and like I mentioned before, I have a couple of announcements to make regarding my broadcasting future at the end of this week's podcast. I think it'll make shocks to people, but I think some people will understand where I'm coming from. But before we get to that, I want to make sure to let everybody know that I'm in good spirits. I'm not mad. I'm not bitter. I'm not in a bad mood. I'm good, man. It's Wednesday. I've been having the house to myself this entire week because my mom went out to Puerto Rico. So having the crew to myself, besides dealing with an old ass dog that's blind and deaf, besides that, I'm doing alright. We're knee deep into the late summer period here for the wrestling world, and we got a long stretch of programming that we gotta go through before No Mercy. I think there's like 6 more SmackDowns that we had to go through before Hell in a Cell. There's no current SmackDown pay-per-view slated in September for the SmackDown brand, so I guess we're gonna get some like supersized SmackDown coming up in a couple weeks, or like how they did in Chicago last year. The Wild Card Finals or something like that, right? Anyways, a couple other things I want to plug before we get into the meat and potatoes of this week's show. Make sure to follow my coverage of all the wrestling shows at ProWrestlingTranscriptions.com. Bookmark that page. You can follow the official Twitter account for that website at PW Transcripts. Today, it's Wrestling Rewind today. After I'm done recording this podcast, I'm going to dial up my WWE network and we're going to be transcribing the 2008 edition of No Mercy. We're in the road to No Mercy, so I decided to... You know what? Let's take a look back at a couple of No Mercy pay-per-views back in the day, and I put up the poll at PW Transcripts. Those that voted, I thank you. And No Mercy 2008 was the winner, so I'm looking forward to it. We had the classic Chris Jericho, Shawn Michaels ladder match, and Batista, JBL, and Triple H against Jeff Hardy for the WWE title. So it looks like I got a good show to look back to on this Throwback Thursday. By the way, we drop this show every single Thursday on mindofcarnage.com. Shout out to the entire MLC family, Adam Daly, Sam Daly, everybody else in the MLC family. Shout out to the obsolete Mule Brother Carter at Derico06 on Twitter. And once again, for the final time, thank you guys for taking time out of your schedules to listen to what yours truly has to say about the world of professional wrestling. There's one thing that bothers me. There's one thing in this world that truly bothers me. And it's people who act like their shit don't stink. I come in here, I try to have a good time. I don't put any monikers in front of you. I'm not trying to feed any propaganda down your throats. I'm me. I know I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I know that a lot of people don't agree with the opinions I have about the wrestling business. No, that's fine. I really don't care at the end of the day, because it's vice versa for me too. Like... None of this stuff really matters at the end of the day, and your opinion has zero effect to what happens in the business. People could threaten on these podcasts to cancel their WWE Network subscriptions, and they'll still be watching the next week. So I really don't take threats in the world of professional wrestling, or especially podcasting, seriously, because at the end of the day, we all need to get our priorities straight. And one the things that I despise when people act like their shit don't stink is like when you try to provide a bigger picture point of view on certain topics, and then people come at you and be like, oh yeah, you must know, you're the expert. No, I've never once in the 5 years I've been doing broadcasting ever said that I was an expert or an analyst. Not once. Whether I was doing the show on Google Hangouts back in the day in 2013, or whether I spent 3 years on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com, I've never claimed to be an expert. Not once. And I'm sure as hell not going to do it right now. I'm 23 years old. I'm a professional broadcaster. That's my job. That's what I do for a living. You want to call me an expert broadcaster? Cool. That's what I do. I'm a licensed trained professional broadcaster. I went to school for this. You can call me an expert in that field because I am an expert in that field. But in regards to the world of professional wrestling, the last thing I am is an expert. And I never claimed to be an expert, and nor do I want to be portraying myself as an expert, because it's just ridiculous at the end of the day. And I'm not that type of guy who's going to put myself into a higher category that I don't belong in and act like my shit don't stink. These holier-than-thou podcasts that you guys get on your knees for, like Sam Roberts and Share Shot Reality and all this other bullshit that you listen to, that's all they do. They act like their shit don't stink. And yeah, I get they're on big platforms and they get all the easy access to the sponsor reads and stuff. Hey man, this podcast you're listening to right now is a grassroots podcast. That's in its purest form. I do this podcast on GarageBand every single week. I spend 3 to 4 hours making this podcast every single week. I don't go walk into the studio at SiriusXM. I don't steal one of the studios at Hot 97. I don't work at ESPN. This is a grassroots project. And I've built a very well-developed audience with this podcast just for me doing my own work. I started becoming a broadcaster when I was 18 years old. I'm 23 now. And it's just funny, like, through all these years, I've been able to keep myself in a humble state of mind, especially with all the shit I've had to deal with the past wrestling websites that I had to work for, and all this other people that I met throughout the years. I'm surprised I kept my sanity, because I put more time in studying this business the right way than people act like they know their shit. Just because you started watching wrestling in the early 90s or in the 80s or the 70s, I don't care what era it was, that doesn't mean you know something more than anybody else. I hate that argument. I've been watching wrestling since 1998. I don't act like I know wrestling more than other people, nor am I going to tell you that my booking philosophy is better, because it's not. I just hate that argument. And it's just something that bothers me, and I want to get that off my chest. So another thing that happened this week over the weekend, besides the Floyd Mayweather Conor McGregor fight, there was a controversial event that happened down in Mexico for TripleMania 25. It was their 25th anniversary. I think you guys know the story by now about Sexy Star purposely forcing in a cross arm breaker on Rosemary after the match was over and torquing it, and it sparked a lot of controversy. We had a lot of wrestlers and promoters talk about how they lost their trust for Sexy Star and that she shouldn't be booked in this stuff, and a lot of promoters are advising fans and t-shirt companies and et cetera, to not sponsor her or give her attention. And that's the thing, man. When you lose trust with performers, or you're like blackballed in any field you're in, especially in the wrestling world where networking is more important than what your in-ring skills are. Trust me, if there's one lesson I learned about the world of professional wrestling from the outside, I've learned from David Hero. networking with people is way more important than what you can do in the ring. And when you lose that trust, it spreads around. When you lose trust and you conduct yourself in an unprofessional manner, it spreads around and it puts you in a bad light. And I've never met Sexy Star in person. I was a fan of her in Lucha Underground. I covered a lot of her matches. I covered when she won the Lucha Underground title last season. And I was a fan of her and I enjoyed her work. And it's sad what's going on because I've been watching what's been going on through like Keeping It 100 with Conan, and he talked about the whole controversy about how Sexy would use backstage politics for certain performers, and that she quote unquote stole the title from Taya Valkyrie, whatever, in AAA, and all this other nonsense. And it's just unfortunate, especially what happened on Saturday. It's just not cool. It's not cool. I'm not going to call Sexy Star names or anything like that. That's not my place for me to do that. I'm not part of the business. I don't know what goes behind that. And honestly, I'm one of those people that, unless I know you personally and I have something that it's valid for me to criticize you for, then I'll do it. But Sexy Star, it's not that I feel bad for her, but I could understand what's going on when people try to blackmail you or blackball you out of situations. I've had that feeling before when people try to make you like the most hated person on earth for absolutely no reason. Now, she has a reason why people hate her now, but it's a lonely feeling when it feels like it's you against the world. And we'll see how this situation will or will not be resolved. I don't know if Sexy Star is going to make any more appearances in these wrestling companies. There's people even talking about her possibly having her career end because of this whole situation. And it's just unfortunate. You have to be a professional and you have to keep your trust in the wrestling business. I know there's a lot of insecure people out there, whether it's the media business or the wrestling business or the television business or whatever business you're in, especially people that like work in cubicles and office buildings and stuff. I know how it is about people being insecure and stuff. And you have to grind, you have to stay the course, and whether you like somebody personally or not, you have to conduct yourself as a professional and work throughout the things. There were times when I was being an intern on Chicago Sports Radio, there were certain co-hosts on the show that I was interning for that I wasn't that fond of. I didn't hate, but I was kind of indifferent to. But I sucked it up and I did what I had to do because you got a job to do. And especially when you're going to be part of this entertainment business, there's going to be people that you don't like, and there's going to be people that don't like you for whatever reason. And it is what it is. We all know when it comes to entertainment and the world of media, not everybody's going to be an angel. Not everybody's going to be all giddy and happy and stuff. I'm a positive person, and I take things one day at a time. I'm not stressed out by a lot of things. I try to live my life in a positive manner. I know things are thrown my way and obstacles that I have to deal with. And there's days where I'm in a bad mood, and there's days that I would want to vent or lash out at people, but I get nothing out of that. And, I've been part of the media business for a better part of 4 years now, and I don't regret it. I think it's helped me become a better person because 5-6 years ago, I was super, super shy. I wasn't able to have a conversation with you guys like this right now. And I was very shy. I was in a very dark place 5 to 6 years ago. But that's besides the point. We'll see what happens with the Sexy Star situation as more stuff develops. I hope Rosemary recovers well on her recovery. And it just sucks when these type of situations happen because it just puts a bad light in the business, because not only do you hear about people pulling out backstage politics and all this other stuff, but when especially when talents go into business for themselves and they try to intentionally injure a performer, it just makes the business look bad. So it sucks. It sucks. But that's this week's monologue. Hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at NotoriousJoshing. Right now, we're going to head into this week's Yan Club audio moment of the week. Get ready for some more tunes from the one and only Vince Russo. I got a clip from Brian Alvarez. And supposedly, Vince Russo has been using my coverage of the G1 to reference his videos. Interesting. All right, folks, get ready. Here's this week's Yan Club audio moment of the week.
This person says, so Dolph is in a backstage segment again. Is his new gimmick a complaining troll? I think his new gimmick is that he's out of his mind. But let me tell you something here. I had a revelation last night. I never thought I'd say this, but I was so excited to watch SmackDown tonight because I couldn't wait to see Dolph Ziggler's new gimmick. Last week on this show, Dolph Ziggler said, I'm going to debut my new gimmick next week. So, as a loyal fan, I waited, and I was so excited, and I turned on the show, and Dolph Ziggler did it, and he says, I'm going to debut it again next week. And you want to know what? I'm over it now. Because now, as a fan, I fully expect that next week he's going to be backstage again, and he's going to do it again, and it's going to go on forever. So I now have no interest in tuning in next week to see this, because they lied to me.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have late breaking news. The 3-year G1 tournament in the land of the rising sun, Japan, has come to an end. And I, Vince Russo, am the first one to break out and give you the results of this tournament. Over the last 35 years, match in this tournament would have made the top 10 in 28 of those 35 years. Those other 7 years, there must have been something unbelievable going on. But in 28 out of the 35 years, all of these matches would have made top 10. Now, there's a cell block A and there's a cell block B. And I'm going to start from the bottom and work my way up to the winner of each individual cell block. Then I will give you the overall winner, the grand poobah of this G1 tournament. Let's start with cell block A, the bottom up, number 10, Yuji Nagata. Number 8, Yoshi-Hashi. Number 7, Toji Makabe. Number 6, Tamahiro Ishii. Number 5, Haruki Nato. Number 4, Zack Sabre Jr. Number 5, Kota Ibushi. Number 4, Bad Luck Fail. Number 2, Hiroshi Tanahashi. And number 1, the winner of Cell Block A, Tetsuya Naito. Tetsuya Naito. Now let's look at Cell Block B. Number 10, Satoshi Kojima. Number 9, Toru Yano. Number 7, Juice Robinson. I have no idea what a dude by the name of Juice Robinson is doing in this tournament, nor, quite frankly, do I have any idea who Juice Robinson is, nor, quite frankly, do I care. Number 6, Tama Tonga. Number 5, Michael Elgin. Number 5, Sonata. Number 4, Minoru Suzuki. Number 3, Evil. Is that Dr. Evil? I don't know. I don't know who Evil is. Number 2, Kazuchika Okada. And number 1, Kenny Omega. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have the overall winner of Cell Block A, Tetsuya Naito, and the overall winner of Cell Block B, Kenny Omega, and the overall winner of the 8-year G1 tournament in Japan that went on forever and seemed like it was never going to end. 8 years of Christmas for Meltzer Magoo. The overall winner, Tetsuya Naito. Congratulations, Mr. Tetsuya Naito, on winning the G1 tournament. The best tournament this world has seen in 28 of the last 35 years. Hats off. Congratulations, Tetsuya Naito.
That speaks for itself. That right there, folks, was the Yacht Club audio moment of the week. All right. Let's move on to something more important and less mind-numbing. Let's take a look at this week's SmackDown Live.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the Princess of Staten Island, my homegirl, and your Miss Money in the Bank, Carmella. Carmella, tell the WWE Universe what's next for it.
James, enough, okay? I'm not telling you anything ever again. Last week you opened your big fat mouth and blabbed my plan to Natty. And if it wasn't for you, I'd probably be champ right now.
Yeah, about last week. Look, I'm really sorry, but did you get the flowers I sent to make up for it?
Oh yeah, I got the flowers. The ones with the card that said with sympathies. James, did you steal flowers from a funeral?
What do you mean by steal?
Can't keep your pet on a leash, Carmella? You should be so grateful that James stooged you off, okay? Because if you ever try to cash in on me, I'm gonna make you the Baron Corbin of the women's division. And as far as that double cross goes last week, I'm gonna make you pay for that next week when we go one-on-one.
Wait, a match next week, Natty? Big mistake.
What?
Natty, you just made a big mistake. Keep that title shiny for me. Capiche? James?
What do you want?
Easy, Miss Best There Is. You seem a little on edge for a champion. You know, if I were you, I'd take myself a good cat nap, because you got a difficult 2 weeks ahead.
2 weeks? What do you mean by that?
Well, next week you got Carmella, but in 2 weeks, me and you are having our rematch for that title here on SmackDown Live. Meow, meow.
Shelton, earlier tonight that you said you wanted to send a message to the tag team division. Do you feel that you accomplished that?
Oh, without a doubt. Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin are here for one reason, and one reason only, and that is to be champions. We will not stop, we will not rest, we will not relent until Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin are the tag team champions.
Now, Chad, can you tell us about teaming up with this guy, Shelton, over here?
I mean, what can you say? We got a guy that's like totally experienced, right? He's got all the, and that's what I need. Now, I came in with a different partner and we had a lot of fire behind us and we were hungry. But what we didn't have is someone like, you know, leading us and showing us how to be successful because he's done it before. He knows how to do it. And I think that, like, of anything, that's what I have to gain from him is experience and knowledge. And I'm like a sponge. I've always been that way. If I've got somebody that's willing to teach me and willing to work with me, I can do that. And I think I got the perfect guy for the job right here. So we're going to kill it.
Bobby Roode, another impressive victory here for you tonight on SmackDown Live. You've been here for all of 2 weeks, 2 victories here for you. What are some of the goals that you're looking to achieve here on SmackDown Live?
Well, Renee,
if you're not in this industry for one reason, then, you know, you should really think about what you're doing with your life. And that number one reason is to become a champion. I've been in this business for nearly 2 decades, and everywhere I've been a champion. So coming to SmackDown Live, that's no different. My goal is to become a champion. And being champion on SmackDown Live will make SmackDown Live that much more glorious.
Thought I was going to get to say it. Thank you, Bobby Roode.
Dolph, you said that you would be unveiling a new side of yourself this week. What can we expect?
Well, tonight, we're in Little Rock. So you can expect nothing. What I have planned is going to take longer. So you only really get one chance to make a first impression, right?
What motivated this desire for change?
Oh, I don't know. Being the best athlete in sports entertainment year after year till 10 years come around and nothing to show for it. Doing what I do in the ring better than anybody else over and over, and I give and I give and I give and I get nothing in return. I'm taken for granted. I'm an afterthought. But you know what I really am? I'm a star. Because they get distracted by twinkling lights, fancy jackets, and sequins on the jackets. And what does this even mean? Does this mean anything? This gesture literally means nothing. And don't even get me started about Raw. With Raw, there's a guy who comes out with a special light, playing guitar with an open mic. Is that what you want me to do? Do you want me to ride a motorcycle to the ring, playing a double neck guitar? Is that what I have to do to get noticed around here? Oh, I know what I can do. I can hop on a dumb four-wheeler like Stone Cold would. I can throw me a couple cold ones and act like I drink them as they pour all over my face. Oh, I know, I can do something even better. Douse me in paint, just like Finn Balor, so you can hopefully forget that I'm a charisma vacuum. Oh, I know, we grab a beautiful lady and have her escort me to the ring. That'll distract you. Oh, I got it. I can be a superhero. Zigman! All the years of dedication and sacrifice have meant nothing. So, you want all flash and no substance? That's what you're gonna get next week.
Alright, folks, let's talk about this week's SmackDown Live from the quietest city, one of the quietest cities in the WWE Universe, Little Rock, Arkansas, folks. Yeah, let's go to Little Rock, Arkansas and sit in our hands for 2 hours. Holy moly. I saw a lot of people say that this show sucked this past Tuesday, and I would disagree on that. I wouldn't say it was great or good or anything. I thought it was okay. I thought it was decent, but man, you can tell the difference from people's vibes towards a certain show on social media based on the crowd reactions. It's one thing to be in Brooklyn with a bunch of Nimrods, and then you go to bumblefuck Arkansas, and then they're sitting on their hands and not making any noise if their life depended on it. But regardless of crowd noises and all the other irrelevant BS, let's talk about the angles, let's talk about the stories, let's talk about all the stuff that's going on with the Blue brand. I put a tweet out at the beginning of SmackDown this week about Jinder Mahal. And I just find it funny now that people who were on the Jinder train, because, they like stuff that's different, and I'm using air quotes here, are now off the Jinder train. Because they want to fit in, and we gotta get on our knees for the proprietor of a neighborhood. And we have to bow down to his every command. So we have to we have to vow by his every philosophy. Jinder Mahal gets better every single week because it continues to piss you off. The way he does his job and the way he gets the heat pisses you off. Him doing his job right pisses you off. Him not being the heel you want pisses you off. That's the point. You're not supposed to like him. He's not supposed to do things that are supposed to pop you. That's the point. The Singh brothers get on their knees to kissing him and kissing the royal feet that he stands on since he is the WWE champion. That's called heat. That's called heat. And he got so much heat in the beginning of this week's episode, and I was loving it. I was laughing my ass off. His promo was great. And I found it very interesting that everyone's like, oh, here we go again. Here goes Jinder talking about, oh, yeah, he says the same stuff every single week. Well, I guess people weren't mad and stale with The Rock every time. Said, well, finally, The Rock's come back to Boo Bumble Fuck Arkansas. You take 30 seconds of Jinder Mahal saying, well, oh, you guys don't like me because I'm this and that. And you block out everything else that he says. I can't take that point seriously, you know? Like, the main complaint everybody says about Jinder is that he says the same stuff every week. Wow! What a thought-provoking take there, you know what I mean? What a fascinating revelation that we found out here in this podcast. Jinder Mahal says the same things on a form of entertainment called professional wrestling, where we have guys come out here and say the same thing over and over and over again for over 100 years. Wow. Picture if Hulk Hogan was around every single week in the 80s, you'd probably get tired of him saying, what you gonna do? Or how every single week we have Chris Jericho say, welcome to Raw is Jericho. All these catchphrases and all this other stuff that we've heard stuff over the years. Kurt Angle, Austin, Cena, etc., etc., etc. We're talking about wrestling. Of course they repeat themselves. We've been watching this shit for over 100 years. What type of novel, what type of revelation are you trying to get out of? Oh, I don't like Jinder Mahal because he says the same stuff every week just to get hate. That's his job! That's his job! He's an old school heel that works in 2017. Think about that. People spend a lot of time in their podcasting trashing the guy because he's doing his job right. This is what bothers me. A guy who's not from the indies, the guy who's had experience in this company and has to deal with bad gimmicks and grinding and grinding and grinding and then told you're not good enough to get an opportunity, gets fired. About to leave the business, has no care in the world, takes a look in the mirror and says, fuck this. I'm going to change my body, I'm going to change my circumstances, and I'm going to get back to where I belong. He gets back to the company. What does he do? He loses matches. He's putting the other talents in the roster over since they split the rosters and did the brand split last year. He grinds. He's a good team player. He loses. He does a little tag team thing with Rusev. He loses. He gets an opportunity to go to SmackDown Live, which the show's called The Land of Opportunity. This guy has been the face of SmackDown Live since WrestleMania for a reason, because the show's called The Land of Opportunity. And he gets his opportunity. He wins at Backlash. Everybody here in the city of Chicago marks out for him because he's a guy that deserves it. And that people don't want to see Randy Orton as the WWE champion anymore. The guy does something different. He gets heat. in this era of wrestling, where we all think that we could book the shows better than Vince McMahon does, and the reason you're pissed off at Jinder, it's not because he can't wrestle like Shinsuke Nakamura. It's not that he can't cut heel promos like Kevin Owens. The fact you hate him is because he's in the position that your indie darlings are not in. Let's not play the act of, oh, he's just in there because, oh, they want to market India. Wow, what a novel concept. Yeah, they trot out freaking Tensai and Sin Cara and all these other international characters over the years to play different markets. Oh, we're going to Mexico. Let's start pushing Sin Cara and Alberto Del Rio. Oh, we're going to go to Scotland. Let's push Sheamus. We're going to India. Let's go to Jinder. Of course they would do that. It's good business. The rhetoric that's spewed around this wrestling platform, this wrestling medium known as podcasting, is becoming stale. The complaining and the bitching and the narratives that come out of these podcasts are stale. Or they're counterintuitive to what's actually going on in the product. Because Dave Meltzer hates Jinder Mahal's in-ring style. Oh, he should be booked. We're going to blame Jinder Mahal because Sasha Banks is not as a big a performer as everybody thinks she is. We're going to blame Jinder Mahal because, oh, this is how... we're going to blame Jinder Mahal for why the WWE booking sucks. All this stuff you hear week in and week out, and I just laugh at this point. Because there's no point in getting upset about it. There isn't, because when I read this stuff while this stuff's going on, and I'm covering the show live as it is, and I'm covering the show live every single week for ProWrestlingTransitions.com, I look at these tweets, and Jinder says the same stuff all the time. Oh, I'm off the Jinder train. Oh, I'm done with this. Oh, this title reign's so flat. You know, when you say stuff like that, that shows how much it's working. That shows how much it's working. Hey man, you can be upset. I don't care. That's the point. He's the actual heel we need in 2017. I'm glad that he beat Shinsuke Nakamura at SummerSlam, because I thought we were going to go to the status quo. Well, hey, Finn Balor got injured at SummerSlam last year. He didn't get the opportunity to run with the title. Hey, Nakamura's here. He's not injury prone. Hey, our indie guy can finally get his chance now. And by the way, I have nothing against indies, but you get the point I'm getting here with. I have nothing against the indie guys. I want to make that perfectly clear. I have nothing against the New Japan guys, etc., etc. But you get the point I'm getting here with. I'm sorry, guys. At the end of the day, just because you think a guy from New Japan has this amount of success in one territory doesn't mean he's going to have success in the next. I like Shinsuke Nakamura. I've always been a fan of his. I liked his work in New Japan. I like what he did in NXT. And I like what he's doing in WWE. And I see all these people talking about, oh, Shinsuke Nakamura is missing something since he came to the main roster. Oh, Vince is watering down Shinsuke Nakamura. No, it's not that he's watering down. It's just that you're not accustomed to watching him on television every single week. That's it. Every time I see Nakamura come out, I see the same guy that I see in NXT. Why would you want a New Japan style of match on a weekly show every single week? With the schedule these guys do, with the house show loops that they have to do, and the international tours they have to do. Why would you want Shinsuke Nakamura to have a NXT TakeOver style match with Sami Zayn on a random SmackDown in Bumblefuck, Arkansas? Why? Space it out. Give it time to breathe. Save it for the pay-per-views when they actually matter. At the end of the day, these weekly shows are just promotional tools. They don't matter. They're talking points. They're telethons. They're wrestling telethons to get either hook for the next special or not. And you get your little sampling of what the product is. Yeah, on Raw, it's a 3-hour show, so yeah, you might get some longer matches here and there. But at the end of the day, SmackDown Live, Monday Night Raw, GFW, etc., etc. All these weekly television shows are basically telethons for you to get invested to the next big special that you have to pay for to see the actual quality of the product. Shinsuke Nakamura is fine. I'm not worried about him. He's getting an opportunity to go after the WWE title again. The guy was in the semi-main event of SummerSlam this year. The guy is fighting for the WWE title after 3 months being in the company. And you're telling me that he's buried, he's being held back, he's being watered down, he's not the same guy that you saw in NXT, and all this is the same thing with the old Cena now, Vince McMahon, and yada yada yada. How many times has Shinsuke Nakamura main evented a SmackDown since he came to the main roster? I'll wait. Because you could have had a guy like Sami Zayn, or Mike Kanellis, or a Luke Harper, or so many other guys on the roster that would die. That would literally die and get under these for the opportunities that guys like Kevin Owens and AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura and Finn Balor and Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose and all these other guys that you get on your knees for and act like they're the greatest things since sliced bread. These other guys that were trained by the WWE Performance Center and their WWE trained performers, they would die for the opportunities that these guys from the indies that you supposedly feel that the WWE waters down, these guys get way more opportunities than the guys that have been trained by this WWE system. They do. Because you look down at guys like Baron Corbin. You look down at guys like Jinder Mahal. Because you feel that Shinsuke Nakamura and Finn Balor and all these other guys grind harder on the indies and then these guys do in the WWE. And I think that's bullshit. I honestly feel that's bullshit. And that's an unfair comparison because the WWE performers do way more shows than the guys in the indies. Yeah, are you able to have more free reign in what you do in your character and in the ring on the indies? Awesome. Sure, of course they do. But don't tell me that guys on the indies and New Japan and all these other companies grind harder than the WWE. I'm not saying that one style of wrestling is better than another, because that's not my point. But I hate the argument of this certain performer doesn't deserve this opportunity because he doesn't grind like this, and he doesn't have this match style like this because he wasn't part of the indies and all this other stuff. This guy doesn't grind like Nakamura. Oh, Jinder Mahal can't lace Finn Balor's shoelaces. Well, guess what? Finn Balor without the demon paint can't lace up Jinder Mahal's ability to get heat and a reaction from the crowd. How about that? Shinsuke Nakamura, the guy you feel is getting watered down, is going to take on Randy Orton for the first time next week on SmackDown. And we're going to find out who's going to be the new number one contender for Jinder Mahal's WWE title. And who knows, maybe Nakamura will be fighting Jinder at Hell in a Cell. And maybe he wins, and maybe becomes a champion before AJ Styles did. But all these people are saying that Shinsuke Nakamura is being watered down and buried, and he's missing something since he came up to the main roster. Y'all can go the fuck home and say the fuck home, because you would have the same feeling that you have towards him right now if he was on NXT every single week, and that's a fact. Other notable stuff on the show, Bobby Roode continues to impress. I mentioned this last week on the Pipe Bomb that whether Bobby Roode is a good guy or a bad guy, it doesn't matter to me. It's just Bobby Roode. It doesn't matter what side of the fence he's on. Bobby Roode will always be over with me, and I think it's cool that he's part of SmackDown. Speaking of Bobby Roode, I want you guys to go out of your way to check out this week's NXT, because he had a very, very good main event with Roderick Strong. One of the best matches of the month so far, so go check out that match. It was a lot of fun last night covering that match. But besides that, man, I thought SmackDown was fine. I thought seeing the stuff with Russo saying that he's having his attention towards the WWE title. I think that's fine. I think that's cool. We found out that Naomi will be getting her rematch against Natalya for the SmackDown Women's title in a couple weeks. The Usos and the New Days look like they're having another rematch coming up soon for the titles. Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable made their in-ring debut as a tag team this past Tuesday. I thought that was fine. I thought they did a good job. Shelton still has the same amount of athleticism now, even though he's over the age of 40. I think him and Gable are going to work very well as a tag team. I do. I think they'll do a very good job. But overall, I thought SmackDown was okay. I didn't think it was good. I didn't think it was great. But I wouldn't call it horrible either. It was just a show that was there this week. And, hey, man, those are the type of shows you're going to have when you're in Little Rock, Arkansas. Or just like you will have this Monday from Omaha, Nebraska. On that note, like a professional, let's take a look at this week's Monday Night Raw.
Finn, how disappointed are you about losing your opportunity at the Intercontinental Championship?
Disappointed? Listen, the Intercontinental title is something that I've wanted to get my hands on for years, and I'll be honest, I fancy my chances against The Miz any day. This whole thing with Bray Wyatt, I thought that all ended at SummerSlam, but apparently not. The saga will continue.
Jeff, first of all, congratulations on the huge victory tonight and even bigger possibilities next week. Talk to me about the possibility of you becoming the Intercontinental Champion.
Whoa! I just won a Battle Royal, man. I hadn't been in one of those in like forever, but I just won a Battle Royal in the WWE. Next week, I get to wrestle The Miz for the Intercontinental Championship. So once again, I might be that champion, and it might be as soon as next week.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
If I couldn't win that match, I would absolutely want you to win. What I want you to do is focus, and next week when you get The Miz in the ring for the Intercontinental title, make his Intercontinental title reign obsolete. You did it.
Sounds good to me.
Emma, congratulations on your victory. I couldn't help but notice afterwards you're still claiming that you started the women's revolution.
Excuse me, what? You said claiming. No. I did start the women's revolution. I said it over and over out there. Were you not listening? Huh. This is ridiculous. You know what else is ridiculous? I just saw WWEshop.com combined. Sasha and Bailey have almost 100 items of merchandise. And you know how many I have? No, 0! How is that even possible? I started the women's revolution. That means I made Sasha, I made Bailey, I made all these women. And this is what I get? The least I can get is a t-shirt. I'm going to start a new hashtag. Hashtag give Emma a t-shirt. How about that? I like that a lot.
Excuse me, Ms. Next week you will defend your Intercontinental Championship against Jeff Hardy. Do you care to comment?
One match. One match? That's all it takes now to face the Intercontinental Champion?
But Jeff defeated 14 other men tonight.
Haven't seen him pin anyone. Have you?
Kurt Angle gave you exactly what you asked for, a bigger spotlight for your Intercontinental Championship.
Excuse me, Nia? Nia, excuse me. Can you explain your actions this evening against your supposed best friend and new Raw Women's Champion, Alexa Bliss?
Let's just say I'm tired of waiting. I'm going to make my own opportunities.
Monday Night Raw from Memphis, Tennessee. I want to go through some rapid-fire thoughts before we head into our last segment of the show. And before I get to this Roman Reigns, John Cena controversy that's been spewing around through a lot of the podcasts this week. First off, really cool to see Jeff Hardy win the Battle Royal. I think him and Miz are going to have a very good match this Monday on Raw. Coming up this Monday is the Labor Day edition of Raw. And usually, over the years, a lot of people claim that the Labor Day Raws are the worst ones of the calendar year. And we'll see about next week. I don't know. It could be. It could be not. Brock Lesnar probably will not be on this show next week, and I don't blame him. Because why would anybody want to go to Omaha, Nebraska? I'm just keeping it 100 there. Other stuff on the show, I liked Seth Rollins against Cesaro. That was a good match, and I thought Ambrose and Sheamus followed that up pretty good as well. Other stuff, I thought, not that I thought, but I will walk with Elias. That guy's awesome. That guy cracks me up. Sasha Banks loses the title against Alexa Bliss. I thought Alexa should have never lost the title at SummerSlam. Alexa brings more to the table in the ring as a performer, as a character, than Sasha does. I think there's a difference you can tell from somebody bringing character in the match than just wrestling moves. And I think that's the point that a lot of Sasha fans forget. Yeah, Sasha's cool, and she does a lot of the hurricanranas and frog splashes and all this other stuff. But Alexa can do that too. Can Sasha do a sunset flip powerbomb? I think Alexa Bliss uses her moves better as a character in the ring than Sasha Banks. I've never been in the ring. I can't critique people's in-ring performances, and I'm not going to do it right now. I just feel as a fan, I feel I feel that Alexa uses her moves as a character better than Sasha does. But that's my opinion. That doesn't make me right, or it doesn't make me wrong. It's all subjective at the end of the day. I just think Alexa brings more to the table as a professional wrestling character than Sasha Banks. Sasha's a great performer, and Sasha's great to look at. I talk about it all the time about the waterfall. Boing. But at the end of the day, Alexa Bliss brings more reaction, genuinely, than Sasha Banks does. And if it wasn't for the NXT TakeOver Brooklyn match with Bayley, would anybody really have this really, passionate feeling about Sasha Banks? Because don't get me wrong, she had her breakout performances and stuff in those multi-women matches in the NXT TakeOver days. But besides the match with Bayley and the feud with Charlotte, what is so special about Sasha Banks as an in-ring performer or as a character? I'm just speaking from a character standpoint. I like her. I think she's cool. I think she's a cool person. She's not uptight. She's not anything like that. That's not the issue here. From a character standpoint, I feel it's disingenuous for her to call herself a boss when she's really down to earth in real life. I don't see her being like Little Kim and Nicki Minaj and the boss as a character. Yeah, does she have an edge to her when she's a heel? And yeah, it's easy to have an edge in NXT when you're going against basically the biggest Bayley fan in the world. But besides that, did the NXT crowd in Full Sail really care about Sasha Banks? I don't know. You tell me. It's just something to think about. Because I see a lot of people put Sasha in this category that I feel she doesn't belong in. There's a lot of people out there that think that the whole company should be surrounded by Sasha Banks. And if you're a fan of her, cool. I can understand where you're coming from with that. But look at this from a bigger picture standpoint, realistically, it's not, she can't be part of it because she's a girl. I just don't think she's the best woman performer in the company. I don't. I think Charlotte is a way better performer than her in the ring and gets more genuine heat than she does. I think Paige is light years better than Sasha, whether it's a babyface or a heel. I think Asuka's better in the ring than Sasha. And I think Alexa Bliss is a better character in ring or on the mic than Sasha. But that's my opinion. And I'm glad that she won. It should have been Alexa versus Nia Jax all along. I don't know why Sasha needed to get the title again. There was no need for it. That's my opinion, and I'm keeping it to that. I know a lot of people are like, F WWE, yeah, we can give her 8-day title reign. Yeah. But I don't care. I don't care anymore at this point. I don't. Flip-flopping titles and wins and loss matters do not matter to me anymore. They don't. I'm numb to it. I covered these matches in-depthly for the better part of 3.5 years, and I don't even know anybody's wins-loss records. Hell, even guys that I liked in certain tournaments, like the UK tournament or the CWC, that I wanted to see to win the tournament, was I mad or annoyed because they didn't win the tournament? No. and I just find it funny that people say that Sasha was made to look like a joke on Monday. I don't know. When you have a 20 to 25 minute main event on Raw, and just because Alexa cheated and used her heel tactics as an actual heel to win, I don't know how is that making Sasha look like a joke. I can understand if it was a 5-minute match and she just wins by a roll and putting her feet up, but no, these girls went back and forth. It was a very long match, and they got to close out the show this Monday, so I don't want to hear that. Oh, Sasha was made to be looking like a joke. Stop. It's ridiculous. Last thing here on Raw, and I knew this was gonna happen, but I'm just surprised by how hypocritical some fans and media members are when it comes to John Cena and the Roman Reigns topic. People will tell you that they're just trying to be fair and objective towards Roman Reigns, but I listen to a lot of these shows, and I can tell when people are spewing out bullshit. When you go out of your way to make petty remarks and about how WWE doesn't realize it, that Roman Reigns is not working for years and years and years and years and years, and then you say, oh, I do give him credit where credit's due. Bullshit. Because whenever there's any new flavor in the month, it's, oh, maybe WWE should reconsider putting their golden boy, their pet project, to the side. It happened with Finn Balor last year. It's happened right now with Braun Strowman. It's happened before with a lot of guys on the roster. Kevin Owens and all these other guys. I love them. I think they're great performers. But people will tell you on podcasts that they're trying to call a spade on Roman Reigns, which is BS because you've never liked them. How can you say you give the guy credit where credit's due when you don't? You do it in a passive aggressive way. If I'm giving credit, you may do it to the not. It's just not genuine when people do try to give the guy credit where credit's due because they don't want him in the spot he's in. And whether I feel that John Cena buried Roman Reigns or not in the segment on Raw this Monday is irrelevant because I don't think he did. Now, I'm not going to come out here and say that Roman did a better job on the mic than Cena, but I'll say this. I enjoyed the segment. It was a lot of fun. I think we have a lot of great things to look forward to for No Mercy this year. The fact that you're stacking up these two main events in a big market like LA, I think that's a big deal. I think that's one of the reasons why they're doing this. We have Brock Lesnar and Braun Strowman as the main event. And the two guys, everybody says they get protected and they're the Golden Boys. They're going to be in the semi-main event of the show. Roman Reigns and John Cena. Think about that. I think that's pretty cool. And I love the promo on Monday. I didn't think Roman was made to look bad. You had your moments on air, and I think it's funny that John Cena is going to come out there and use a internet wrestling community narrative as a talking point in the contract signing. Roman Reigns is a corporately made John Cena bootleg, a cheap corporately made John Cena bootleg. That's the words that came out of his mouth. Well, if anybody is, I'll call a hypocrite card right there because that's BS. That is pure and utter BS. Now, I'm not upset at John Cena. I'm not gonna be worked by it. I'm not upset. I just think it's funny that a guy who has been touted as the Hulk Hogan of the millennium era of professional wrestling, or the millennial generation of wrestling, comes out of his way to say that Roman Reigns is a corporately made edition of John Cena. Do I see Roman Reigns coming out with hats? Do I see Roman Reigns coming out with jean shorts? Did I see Roman Reigns doing something with a hand gesture or flexing his muscles in the middle of the ring like he does? Well, besides the suffrage succotash and the tater tot stuff that happened 3 years ago, by the way, you guys need to move on from that because there's corny shit that The Rock and Stone Cold and all these other guys said too, and I can pull up the tapes and find it right now. But tell me, what is the biggest babyface thing that Roman Reigns has done? Or it's something that would resemble John Cena? Oh, because Precious Daniel Bryan didn't win the Royal Rumble, that's why Roman Reigns is John Cena 2.0? Because Roman Reigns main evented multiple WrestleManias, that means why he's John Cena 2.0? You do know that Stone Cold Steve Austin was shoved down your throat, right? You do know that The Rock was shoved down your throat, right? Triple H was shoved down your throat. The Undertaker, my favorite wrestler, was shoved down your throat. Hell, there was even a time when Punk was going on with the whole best in the world thing. He was shoved down your throat too. And I'm a CM Punk guy. There was a part of Raw during the late, not in the late, but the early part of this decade of the early 2010s here, right? You know what I mean? After the pipe bomb, where CM Punk would have way more segments in TV time than John Cena. Every main star in the history of this business is either suddenly or indirectly shoved down your throat. I could go to TNA. Bobby Lashley, shoved down your throat. Do I like the performer? Sure. It's always in the title picture. EC3, shoved down your throat. Lucha Underground, Prince Puma, shoved down your throat. Matanza, shoved down your throat. Mil Muertes, shoved down your throat. New Japan, Kazuchika Okada, shoved down your throat. Kenny Omega, shoved down your throat. I think the definition of shoved down your throat has different definitions. And I never felt that the WWE was purposely forcing Roman Reigns down people's throat. I just think Roman Reigns is a good performer. And just because CM Punk mentioned on his podcast that agents told him to go make Roman look strong, that doesn't mean you have the full story of what they feel about the guy. You could go off what Meltzer says, you could go off what Alvarez says, but do you really know as to whether or not Roman Reigns is really supposed to be John Cena 2.0? I don't feel that way. I don't, and I never have, and I never will. I think Roman Reigns is Roman Reigns. He said it in multiple interviews in the past that he wants to be his own guy, and I respect him for that. I respect him for that. I don't see John Cena 2.0 when I see Roman Reigns out there and when he kills at main events and takes clean victories at WrestleMania and puts other talents over and loses multiple pay-per-views at a time and has lost every single pay-per-view match since he beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania this year. The guy you guys love to talk about being shoved down your throat. Yeah, does he get opportunities? Yeah, because he deserves it. He works hard. He's good at what he does. Okay, he had a flub during the promo. But besides the stuff about Cena bearing talent, was there other stuff that Roman said that he was wrong about? If I was Roman Reigns, and I'm not, I would point out how passive-aggressive John Cena is. Not how he buries people, but the guy who talks about being hustle, loyalty, respect, and making the kids feel good about themselves will goes out his way to get in defense mode whenever people call him out on this shit. And then when people do call him out on his shit, John Cena acts like the heel. So I wonder how Mr. USA and Mr. Hustle, Loyalty, Respect is the golden boy, the promotional tool for the company, when he gets petty like a high school teenage girl whenever people calls him out on this shit. That's what I would have said. Not the burying stuff. that's been done to death. Every time they go with the John Cena buries people route, it's just another cheap attempt to have the CM Punk Money in the Bank scenario feel to these feuds. But at the end of the day, was Roman Reigns buried in this segment? No. Am I interested in this match? Yes. I just think it's funny that John Cena needed to go off what the IWC says about Roman Reigns to attack him. John Cena is still here because Roman Reigns can't get the job done. He can't get the job done. If that was the case, then why is he the most talked about WWE superstar in the last decade? Whether it was the SummerSlam, Rumble, WrestleMania events, the guy's the most talked about person in the company, positive or negative. You're gonna tell me, John, that Roman doesn't bring viewers in? It doesn't bring money into the company? You're not gonna tell me he doesn't bring it in the ring as a top guy? Hey, man. You tell me, man. I just think it's funny that John Cena is calling Roman Reigns a corporately made John Cena bootleg when that's the farthest thing from the truth. Roman Reigns is Roman Reigns, and I think you're going to see that as the weeks go by. And I'm interested in this match. It's going to be very good. But overall, I thought Raw was good. I thought it was a very good show. I want to see what happens next week, especially since it's a Labor Day edition of Raw, and then we have 2 more Raws after that before No Mercy, so we'll see what happens. I can't believe it's already going to be September, right? It's going by so fast, and before you know it, football season will be here, and it's going to be a lot of fun. By the way, go Bears. But overall, I thought Raw was good. I thought it was a good show. Coming up next week, I'm going to talk about the Mae Young Classic because I want to get past the first 2 rounds and I give you guys more perspective of it. But I will talk about it a little bit right now before we head out for this week's show. I covered the first 4 episodes, basically the entire first round of the Mae Young Classic on my website, ProWrestlingTranscriptions.com. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. I had the first 4 result pages for that tournament. And it was just as good as I thought it was going to be. And I'm so happy for all 32 performers that got to perform in this tournament. Whether they won or lost, they've all made an impact to me as a wrestling fan. And I want to see all these 32 women succeed. I have a couple matches that stand out to me. I think it's pretty similar to you guys. I loved Piper Niven against Santana Garrett. I loved, Shayna Baszler, how she got the crowd going with the weird naked choke. I liked the match with Bianca Belair and Sage Beckett. I loved the match with Tessa Blanchard and Kairi Sane. That was a very good match. Other stuff that stood out to me. Mia Yim and Sarah Logan had one of the best matches of the tournament so far, in my opinion. Other standouts, I like Toni Storm. She's hot. I think she's very impressive. And also, same thing goes to Rhea Ripley as well. Princess Suhei wasn't that bad either. I thought she did a good job. For her first time, she had the opening match with Kaylee Ray in the tournament. Shout out to JR and everybody in the commentary side of the WWE NYC, and shout out to the lovely and sexy Charlie Caruso in the Mae Young Control Center. Mamma mia! But there you go. This is a couple of thoughts on my mind on the Mae Young Classic. I'll be more in depth about it next week because we'll get more information as round 2 goes by, and we'll get ready for the live finals, which will be happening September 12th, I think. Yep, September 12th, live on the WWE Network, immediately following SmackDown in Vegas. Should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's time to make the announcement right here. This is something that I've been thinking about for a while, and this is not something I want to do, but it's something I have to do, and it's a decision that's been wavering over my mind for the last couple of months, actually. It's not something that's been popping up for the last week or so, but this is something I've been wanting to do for a while, and it's something I have to do. But going forward, after this weekend concludes, I'm no longer going to be part of the Pipe Bomb. I'm going to tell the boys about it tonight as we record the show. This week's Pipe Bomb will be my last on the show. And just want to thank everybody from the Pipe Bomb, Matt, Rob, everybody from the NI Network for accepting me to be part of the community. It's nothing personal. It's just I have more priorities that I have to get straightened out. Things are out of my control that I had to reassess what I'm doing with my career. And Pipe Bomb takes a lot of my time. And I love doing the podcast, but I just wasn't having fun anymore. And I feel like I'm regressing and I need to reevaluate and change some things. So I'm going to be leaving the Pipe Bomb after this week. Whoever replaces me will have a great job and the honor of being part of a great podcast. Like I said, this is nothing personal towards anybody on the show or the network. I just need to change my circumstances and got a new job that I'm doing in September, which is going to be taking a lot of my time. But in regards to this podcast, I'm going to be moving the podcast to Fridays. Hope you guys will understand. But the podcast will still be here. It'll still be on MinorCards.com, but I'll be dropping it on Fridays. So, 2 announcements as we head out for this week's podcast. First, I'm leaving the Pipe Bomb. And secondly, coming after probably the first week of football. After that first week of games is over with, I'll move the podcast for this show to Fridays. But besides that, that's going to conclude this week's edition of the Josh Lopez Wrestling Podcast. I want to thank you guys so much for taking time out of your schedules to listen to what I have to say. I know you guys got way more important things to worry about in your life. And the fact that you want to spend some time with me while you guys are working out or driving back home from work, I appreciate that. And your guys' support means the world to me. So thank you guys so much for listening to this week's Josh Lopez Wrestling Podcast. Please leave a review for the podcast on Apple Podcasts. Leave a review rating. It really helps us out. That's all I ask. I'm not going to charge you to listen to this podcast. You guys mean the world to me, and I want you guys to spread the word about the show on social media. This podcast deserves to be spread around to more wrestling fans, and I think I'm doing this for the right reasons. And if you agree, let the good brothers and sisters know we're the best wrestling podcast at. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Notorious Joshi. Make sure to bookmark ProWrestlingTranscriptions.com. Follow at PW Transcripts on Twitter. And that's pretty much it. If you want to advertise with the Josh Lopez Wrestling Podcast, you can send an email to joshlopezww94@gmail.com using the subject line advertising. Hope you guys enjoyed this week's podcast. Shout out to the entire MOC family. You can check out this podcast on minorcards.com. So, once again, thank you guys so much for checking out episode 69 of the Josh Lopez Wrestling Podcast. Remember, this life is not guaranteed to anybody. Tomorrow's not guaranteed. You gotta make the best out of your situations. Stay positive. You are the director of your life story, and never let anybody impugn your character or let you regress. I'm out.